Potholes and Penguins with Barry and Trimby.
Spring brings changes on its wings, just on cue to lift my soul. Happy faces come to sing. I don't want to grow old. Ever hoping to be free, filled with life's complexities. Now dead summers come to call. I'm gonna relive each and all.
Live on. Live on.
Hermitage Green, live on. Great band.
Great Joan for plenty.
Great band.
Or Heritage Green, as Ivan the Terrible called you.
Ivan the Terrible. He's worse than your man from Auschwitz, I'd say. They should come after him, try and get him locked up like they did to that fella.
Yeah.
So we demanded last week that we not demanded, we put it out into the universe like The Secret. What you put out into the universe will come back to you. We put out into the universe that we wanted to get on television, and hey presto, we were on television. Now, I was hoping for the Tommy Tiernan show start, then the Late Late Show. Now, we kind of got the Euro trash of TV, of modern day TV, which was Paddy Power for some reason on the show, representing Jean-Paul Gaultier, and then Ivan Yates representing Lulu from Eurotrash. It was bananas.
It took us unaware. I didn't expect that level of intensity, and I was going, it's not our fault. I'm sorry. He's kind of blaming. I felt like he was blaming us.
It's a complete different kettle of fish, the production that goes into TV and all that kind of stuff. Like, I decided not to put up the big backdrop that's behind us, so ended up looking like Barry was in my childhood bedroom or something. Loads of power rounds.
It was like
pair of knickers on the ground.
Yeah, a student's house. I looked like I was recording from. Just a picture of Jeremy on the wall. I love the way you've only one picture on the wall and it's of yourself.
Oh yeah.
I love
that picture.
So we've just got very professional. Anybody who doesn't watch the video, so Dermy sent me links to get a backdrop, and it's all very professional looking. Molly said to Mum, to Anna last week, she's like, "Why can't I get a hut in my room like Daddy has? Why is he playing in his hut?"
That's what it's like. It's like a fort.
A fort, yeah. It's a fort.
Not in Bates building a fort. Maybe not in spring arrives, but Saturday morning, and yeah, bring that sheet down, make proper use of it now, and build the kids a fort on the Saturday morning. What we're talking about there is what was the name of the show? The Green Room with Ivan Yates on Friday night. The Green Mile.
Ivan Yates.
Yeah.
The Green Mile might have been more crack.
Yeah, maybe he was similar to John Coffey from the Green Mile, the way he sucked the badness out of you.
The swarm of locusts out of his mouth.
Ivan Yates sucked the crack out of us and spat it out.
John Coffey.
Yeah. So that was on Friday night. It was, I enjoyed it, to be fair. It was silly and weird. Better than just going on and talking usual shite. And we made our debut. It wasn't our debut. We've been on TV before, but it's good to put that thing out in the universe and get it. And one of the things that, when he asked me, he started rattling me over, what the hell is going on? Offloads, Barry. What the hell? He came in and I was there. Brilliant. When you said brilliant, that he was, who am I talking to, George Hook? That was so funny. But I told Paddy Power to watch a Disney film. That was like my gut reaction was, I feel the world needed to watch a Disney film last week. Maybe still does.
Oh yeah.
Everyone was a bit freaking out.
There's a rake of them after popping up on the Facebook group. I've been cutting the legs off them.
Yeah, we had to expel people from the Facebook group for the first time ever.
Yeah, they were gone racist and like throwing things at each other and smearing
What's
shit
the-
all over the walls.
The new fella, Unc Len,
Yeah.
did he get bucked out? Did you make an example of him?
No.
Is
I
he not
just
out yet? He
asked him
needs
quietly. I'm not sure if I
He
actually
asked him quietly, "Excuse me, would you mind?"
Excuse
Moving
you're
along.
making a scene.
Mm. I had to take a break from social media this week. Well, not Instagram, because Instagram's safe enough. It's sound, isn't it?
Yep.
Twitter and Facebook, I had to take a break. Everyone's getting too mental, and everyone needs to collectively watch a Disney film. So I took my own advice and I watched Up on Saturday morning.
Oh, great show.
So good. So sad, but very good. And then there's a new one out by the same director of Up called Soul. It's on Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I haven't watched it yet. John Baptiste did the music for it.
Oh,
The piano player.
yeah, it's phenomenal.
Quite
Piano playing is...
Psychedelic and DMT-ish in terms of the plot line.
Yes. It's quite existential, kind of, not, yeah, crisis, I suppose. It's about this jazz pianist played by Jamie Foxx, and it's cartoon, obviously, and he goes into a coma, and then he's on the other side. The other side is whatever it might be. It's such an original. It's so original. It's unpredictable, which is what the word of the moment is for us with regards to what we want from the Irish rugby team. It's unpredictable. You could be looking at this cartoon and going, "Oh yeah, I know what's going to happen here." You have no notion what's going on. It's so weird and so, as you said, a bit psychedelic, a bit trippy, and he finds his whole idea. The whole idea of the film is that this guy is trying to find the beauty of life and stop focusing on the end product. And you've got to look at your can of Imbangito beer and realize that, like, look at the label on that. It's so cool. It's so original. And it tastes delicious. And the cotton on my shirt is really nice. That's why I wear it all the time. It's very nice on my
Are
skin.
you having a seizure or something or a stroke? Brain
I'm
is just
drinking,
misfiring there.
What are you on, Dermy?
I am also on the Imbangitos.
Oh,
What are you
imagine
on?
our periods. Imagine our periods aligned perfectly. I'm not. I'm on. It's like the circle of life, only better.
Brilliant.
Good name, isn't it?
Yeah. There's not much, better than the circle of life. But a can of beer on the start of spring. It's not the first day of spring. The first day of spring is tomorrow. But what a day we had today, lads.
Oh, yeah.
beaut,
And
boys.
there's the beauty of life right there. We can be in lockdown. We can be in all the shit that's going on at the moment. But all it takes is one sunny day of a Sunday and everyone out in the sun on your skin and a smile on your face. And everything's okay.
Yeah.
Do yourselves a favor. Join in, Penguins. Go to boundarybrewing.coop/shop and use the discount code Will Addison and join the party. Please.
Yeah, the vitamin D on the skin is some yoke by.
I went down to the grass today, the park in UL, and I lay in the grass and I looked up at the sky for an hour.
I did that as well outside.
So nice.
Yeah. Your mind goes and then it's ending like, "Hey man, you feel really good."
Everything just stopped. Just became less noise.
I was a bit noisy today, to be honest. I was labouring this morning. Remember the
nice.
hole I built? Remember the hole I dug about a month ago?
Here we go.
I started doing something with it. So
What are you doing?
I had my mate round, who was project manager. Yeah, so he was just kind of telling me what to do. Anyway, we've made a start in the patio. There'll be pictures up tomorrow when we finish it off.
You've started, so you've put the sand down, you've put the little stones down.
You have to cement the line, the
yeah.
line that runs the length of the flower bed, and then the rest of them you just have to sand them in. So it looks well. There'll be a few impressed Penguins tomorrow whenever I put the finished
Good
picture
man.
up.
That's a
But
very
yeah.
that's a perfectly productive thing to do now. The start of spring.
Yeah, it is, and it
Sense of
was
satisfaction after that. Now it's going to be.
It was
outstanding.
busy. The kids were running around and they were getting in the way and they were like mucking about with the sand and one, Jack nearly got his hand stuck in the cement mixer. It was a busy day. It was a busy, just the right amount of danger, I thought, today to keep everybody on their toes.
Yes. Love it. What else is going on? Look at my notes here.
So I'll touch on Ger Casey in a while because he's a proud parent. But I too am a very proud parent. The last few days, two things have happened. So I told you a while back there, we've been reading Roald Dahl, all the Roald Dahl books. Finished Fantastic Mr. Fox. That was one of the first ones. The Twits, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, a couple other ones. Anyway, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I said, Jack, now that we've sorted that, let's watch the movie. So
I just had it written down. I was just pointing it out to Dermy.
We only saw the trailer going into that Virgin Media
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
interview.
I haven't seen it, but I just saw the trailer.
You haven't seen Fantastic Mr. Fox?
No, as in Roald Dahl. I just wrote down, but I have it written down in front of me that there's a film out about his life, but I haven't seen it. You've seen it?
Oh yes, sorry, yeah, of course, yeah, no, that we haven't watched that. I doubt Jack.
Oh, but I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox the other day.
Yeah. Oh right. Okay, our periods are aligned.
Our lining. Yeah,
But it's not like it's not a cartoon. It is a cartoon, but it's so good.
Oh,
it's
it's
Wes
amazing.
Anderson. So I'm watching Wes Anderson movies with my 5-year-old.
the twins were watching it.
Son.
18 months, and I had the exact same thought. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning on Thursday or Wednesday, Thursday. I was there. They are glued to this. This is life at its
Brilliant.
best.
Brilliant. It's such a life hack, isn't it?
Mm.
I'm looking after my young fella, and I'm not being dad. He's my mate, and we're sitting watching a movie that we're both loving. So I was like, brilliant. I am so proud of this young fella. And then I was in the car with Molly. She's 4 in a couple of weeks' time. And now I have been building this up for a long time. But she goes, Daddy, play Hey Ladies, the Beastie Boys. She asked for a Beastie Boys song in the car. I was like, yes. I'm listening to the Beastie Boys with Molly, and I'm watching Wes Anderson movies with Jack. That is just a great week.
Yeah, there you go. My brother said something similar to me a while back. Years ago, his daughter, her favorite song was a death metal song called Stink Fist. She was about 4.
Stink Fist.
It was like the proudest day of his life. That's amazing. Beastie Boys.
Yeah, no, I've been pushing that one for a long time. So
monkey see, monkey do, isn't it? You just play whatever you want and mold them into.
just convince them that they're enthusiastic about it. Just be enthusiastic enough for all of everybody in the car, and then it kind of rubs off a bit. So yeah, and then eventually she just asked for it. I went, yes, I've landed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, that Roald Dahl film about his life is going to be emotional. I'm going to watch that.
Why? What happened to him?
It suggests that he might have developed Alzheimer's or something like that today, but it just has one of those vibes about it, and the pianos are playing in the trailer, and he's old and he's writing, and there's kids and then it's my entire childhood were his books, so I'd love to know a bit more about him. And there's that brilliant little mini documentary on YouTube about how his creative process works when it's about 6 or 7 minutes long, and it's recorded back in the 80s, I'd say. And he just has such a cool life. He lives in an old house, and 3 nights a week his mates over, and they just smoke cigars, drink beers, and play snooker.
What?
And they're all just playing snooker. And then he gets up and he goes out into the shed. He just has this little setup on an armchair with a blanket over him and pencils and a little plinth and a big mug of coffee and a flask. And he just sits there and looks out the window and just writes. Comes up with that mad stuff that he comes up with. It's brilliant.
Wow.
I'd love to get into that. Like, when do you get into flow? Do you feel like there's so many distractions now in your life? I'm always kind of concerned about, I don't give myself enough time to block out all the noise and to give myself enough time these days to sit down and just allow yourself hours of flow. Do you do any of that, Trimby, anything like that?
I'm not very good at meditating. I'm on my phone way too much, and I'm
not even meditating. I'm not talking about meditating, but just sitting down to work or create or do something where you're not being distracted.
I'd say the only time, no, I would be when I'm working. I would be like the hours would be flying past. The days go so quickly. The days whenever Anna's working and the kids are in nursery, and I'm in the house working, like I would just sit there and just be on my laptop the whole time, and there'd be Zoom calls and stuff, but it would be intense. I think there could be there's an element of flow to that, but it's not like creativity. It's not that. It's not the same thing. The only kind of creative kind of moment where I would have would be writing my silly little bits. There's limited credibility.
It's always so good. It's always so good. It's because you have a routine to it, and you clear your mind, and you go in with I don't know, having a purpose, but also
you
being
can't
playful.
You can't go being playful, but you need a spark. I think I'm assuming I'm going to apply the same principle that I've learned from that process to anything creative. You need a spark, and the spark can happen. You said this to me one time, actually. Andy Warhol, was it? What's the famous Andy Warhol?
The tin of Campbell soup.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and how it's an everyday thing that you see, but it's a moment of inspiration, and then just kind of capturing it and then using that. So quite often, if I was like watching a movie or listening to something, or something like a wee expression, something jumped out at me, I would try and use that as a spark for something else. I assume that's what you do when you're writing songs. You just need a spark, and then you just need to sit down like Roald Dahl, and then you need to give yourself the time to let that spark kind of become something kind of bigger, or like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, I think that is it. And then that's what I do when I sit down. I'll just something will blurt out, and then you just write, and the more you write, the more comes out. It's like a tap. Just turn it on, it comes out, and then the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Take the My Waddy out of the fridge, then mix it up.
Bit of vodka,
bit of ice, bit of gin.
Yeah. Well, look, we're what better time to give us just a silly little bit, and we'll see what the spark was and where it took you.
See what all the fuss is about, will we?
It's Trimby's silly little bit.
2 weeks ago against France, Ger Casey had the tweet drafted and ready to hit send, with the intention of mobilising a nation of emotional rugby supporters who haven't had any social contact for 12 months, and converting this support into social media credit and ultimately Twitter followers. 2 weeks later, he finally pulled the trigger and helped himself to some crumbs from his son's table of fame. With the Twitter likes increasing faster than Barry's blood pressure, Ger's made a name for himself, with Craig, of course, in the passenger seat along for the ride. Over the last few weeks, Wheels appeared to be doing an excellent job of putting 14-man teams to bed, and I thought what everyone else thought. You pissed your pants, you only stay warm for so long. But then instead of removing a player from the opposition, they cleverly recruited a referee who appeared Welsher than Tom Jones, Rob Brydon, a sheep farmer, a mining town, and Gavin and Stacey. Callum Sheedy looks like a hybrid of Marlon Brando and a catfish. And with Caddy Brando at the helm, they had enough to get over the line. I'm coming to the same conclusion I've been coming to for 10 years. Surely it's a case of when, not if, this Welsh team gets its pants pulled down. But now that France are the walking dead, this might have to wait one more year.
Excellent.
Yes, well done, Trimby.
What was the spark of that now? For that?
I watched a movie last night. What's it called? Joaquin Phoenix.
The Joker. The Gladiator.
No, yeah. We Own the Night. It's called We Own the Night.
Oh.
Have you heard of it? No. Two sons. One's a detective. The other one's a drug dealer. And then the dad is kind of torn because the detective gets shot early on, and he comes out with that expression: "You piss your pants, you only stay warm for so long." I was like, that's so good. Yeah, that stuck with me.
So that was it. Then you were like dad and son, Ger and Craig.
I already had the Ger. Whenever I saw that on Twitter, I just thought that's a funny wee moment where he's just taking advantage of his son's moment. And he's just, you know what, son, you're not getting all the credit here. I'd like to take some of that.
You're such a cynical bastard. Jesus Christ.
Make me famous, son.
Yeah. I was going to say something else.
There's such goodwill towards Craig and his dad, isn't there? For everybody's so delighted for him.
People,
and obviously Ryan Baird as well.
What people are very attracted to. It's probably his lovely face and his stature, as well as obviously his playing ability and his personality and stuff. But it just feels like he's capturing the imagination of like all the lovely mammy. My own mother, isn't he gorgeous? He's so cute.
Yeah,
but like he's possibly going to become a household name in the next 15 to 20 years. For his
what Johnny Sexton said about him the other day, comparing him to Johnny Wilkinson in his attitude and his approach to training, was, I mean,
that's
he hasn't seen anyone come close to that since Johnny Wilkinson.
Isn't it funny though?
Johnny Sexton wants him in the team.
It's not the same, obviously, right? But isn't it funny how Owen Farrell is just getting tortured? He's just getting hammered at the minute. And everybody's just like gloating and how miserable he is. He's not playing that well, and then he did really well with that interview after the game, but you know, for him giving off the ref and everything, he's just getting hammered. But he would have started off, he would have been that cute young fella getting his first cap, and it all would have started off so nicely. And then like, Craig, don't get too excited about your future, because if you're as successful as Owen Farrell is, you'll be receiving a lot of flack someday, son. You know?
Well, Owen Farrell taking people's heads off for the last 3 years is probably the main reason why he gets so much criticism, surely.
I don't know if it's maybe it's one of the reasons. I think it's just the fact that he's a talented English rugby player.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And everybody hates England, so they hate the most talented player in the team, and for years it's been him.
Yeah.
I think it could be that is largely to blame for him getting abused.
Yeah, see, I don't like Johnny Wilkinson never got that. Because he never took people's heads off and didn't come across ratty and
fair enough,
pissed off. It was a great day for Craig. I'm delighted for him, and he played so well. Well, I for one was delighted to see another Limerick man getting capped, and we have Davy Quinlan, former Shannon captain, and massive fan of the show. Absolute gas fucker, coming on in part 3 to talk about Shannon RFC and their history in the AIL, the most successful team in the AIL, and also shine a bit of a light on Craig and how he came up through the club. So we'll jump more back into that. Trimby, I love that you're wearing our merchandise still. Actually, you're wearing our hat. We haven't mentioned our hats or stuff in a while, and because it's coming into a bit of sunshine and spring now, sure, why don't you get yourself a hat or a t-shirt or a mug here, like you can see, for your beer or anything else. Just go on our Shopify account. You can pick up any of that stuff. It's all great. I just want to talk about donors for quickly, and then move into part 2. Thanks to everyone who's joined us on our Patreon page, and for listening to Donegal Callan's interview last week. Gotten some unbelievable feedback about that as well. It was brilliant. I love the way I've been trying to tee you up, Trimby, because I texted you during it. Tell the story about the kebab.
Oh yes.
And I was like,
I know.
And sure, when she great pals. I must have said that about 3 times.
I know. You said you really hit it off, or you two clicked or something.
It's a big
I was like, why is he acting weird here? Sorry, I wasn't taking the bait. Yeah, but so I didn't tell this story, or didn't get him to tell this story, but this kind of sums him up. He was like a pioneer with banter. He was just so funny, and he was just very good at kind of manipulating social situations. We were walking up the hall in Killiney Castle one day, and there was a Rugby Players Ireland, it used to be IRUPA. There was a meeting, an AGM in there, and everybody was in there, and it's like you just have to do it once a year. It's pretty boring, but everybody was going into it thinking like, loads of crack in the team room, and then we're just going into this environment where we have to like talk about figures and vision and all this here sort of stuff. And Donegal comes walking up the hall into this room with 2 or 3 people that he's never even met before, and he, on the way into the hall, into the room, he just goes, and it wasn't even a kebab on the bed, it was actually shit. Into this like quiet room, and then no explanation of what was going on. No background to the story. He's a legend. So
pioneer of banter is exactly how I put it.
Such a hero. That it was such a great chat.
Yeah, loved it.
Have you, Dermy? You've never met him before, have you? Or have you met him?
I met him a couple of times before. Yeah. But yeah, I'd met him a couple of times before. I met him at the Munster wrestling match there. That one in Thomond Park. When was that? 2 years ago.
Mm.
One. I was with all the Zebo family, and it was absolutely crack. Was 90. I had my dad there as well, and dad just thought Dunners was the coolest, tallest, soundest fella ever. I just couldn't believe that. Donegal, there's that now. He was gone mad.
Everybody loves him. I got a picture. My mum and dad went to a wedding that he was at one time a few years back. And my mum and dad love him. And then I just started getting all these pictures of my mum and dad and Donegal, and I swear it was like the son that they never had. They were just like, why can't you be more like Donegal?
Just talking about fucking poo all the time.
Yeah, do you remember in Step Brothers where when the other son comes over to visit them, and the dad and the mother get pure, like they love him because he's so, and then Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are just such useless bastards.
Oh yeah.
That's how I feel around people like Dunners.
Yeah.
Parents getting all giggly around him.
He's a legend.
All right, take a quick break. We've got to come back. We've got to talk about Wales versus England and all the mad shit. And then we'll talk about Ireland versus Italy. And do you know what? Because Ireland have had 3 games now, we've got a good old look at who's good and who's maybe in line to get decapitated and gone.
Get the fingernails
You
pulled
were
off.
choosing your words
In the
carefully.
chicken coop.
According to us.
You were choosing your words carefully there. You didn't want to be too critical. Who's, maybe not quite so good.
Gonna cut
He's
the
a little bit
fucking
off the
heads
boil.
So we'll do that. Let's get down to brass taxes and pick our team. All right, we'll take a quick break. Potholes and Penguins, 6 Nation shows brought to you by Camille Thai Restaurants. I love a chicken massa, man. Small ones, massive ones. Good mood Thai food when you're dressed or in the nude. 6 Nations on your couch. Chili chicken in your mouth for takeaway deliveries. Camille Delicious Thai Cuisine. You Okay, Wales versus England. Let's start there. So, according to your silly little bit, you believe that Wales were absolutely poxed with those two decisions. Is that correct? Guazier was as mad as everyone is saying he is, and they were 100% not tries. Or are you? Where do you
Not
stand?
100%. I think in the balance of it, Wales were very lucky getting both of those decisions.
Okay, let's go with the
going their
first
way.
one. Crossfield kick. That was the first one. What do you think?
I think unfair to England.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, slightly
In the
unfair.
balance of it, slightly unfair. Yeah.
I think slightly the French bias in his soul against England just creeped out there, and like because he knew that they were getting the wool pulled over their eyes a little bit. In just that split second, it was like, tell me when we can go, and he couldn't have blown the whistle faster. He was like, go.
But it's not. To be fair, it's not his responsibility to say, England, just make sure you're ready. There's something, these boys have got something up their sleeves.
I know, but is there something to do with the water being on the pitch that you're not allowed to play on with the water on the pitch?
That's what Farrell was saying. Yeah, I assume that was what he was getting at.
And Farrell had actually turned back to him and said, water bottles allowed on the pitch, yeah?
Oh, did he? Did he specifically say that?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So
that's very.
Now there was a long time. There was a long time, and hats off to Wales for noticing it, and it is quite a French referee's approach, just like whoop, jouer.
Yeah.
So probably a little bit harsh. Second one then, the knock on or not knock on from Reese Lewis, whatever his name is. Zammit. Just have to head into that name and bless yourself.
Lewis Reese thingy.
Yeah. The winger. What do you think?
So he, am I right in saying it doesn't, whatever direction it went doesn't matter, because he's saying that it effectively is a kick because it came off his knee. So he kind of dropped it but kicked it. Is that why he got away with it?
I think so. He didn't actually specify that was why. He just said I didn't see a clear knock on.
Yeah. Because I understood, again, who knows, we need to talk to Lacey about this, but I understood that if you lost control of it, you can't like lose control of it and then hoof it while the ball's on its way to the deck, so it looks like you're kicking. You still lose control of it. So he definitely lost control of it.
But what he lost control going, I think, this is my, now, I've been trying to look at this, and I tried to look at these few games with without any distractions, and because Ireland have been talked about to play off the spur of the moment and just what's the word I'm looking for? Instincts. Just that's the words that's been thrown around a lot. Instincts are important. So I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this, and I'm going to be instinctual watching this game. And I'm not going to be on Twitter. I'm not going to be on anything. I'm just going to watch it. I'm not going to listen to anything. Just focus. And my instinct straight away was, I think that could be okay. It kind of felt like his hand actually knocked it backwards, and then his foot knocked it. Then his back of his leg hit it or something. But it didn't go forward off his hand. So
if it didn't go forward, then it's a different. Then it's a different issue. Then it's the momentum thing again, isn't it? It's that debate.
Because I looked up the laws, and they're here. And when a player loses,
good man. Jeez, when have we ever looked up laws?
Well, it was on Twitter. I took a screenshot.
Right, that's not very on brand.
When the player loses possession of the ball and it goes forward, so I actually don't think it went forward. Or when a player hits the ball forward with the hand or arm, or when the ball hits the hand or arm and goes forward, and the ball touches the ground or another player before the original player can catch it. So it does. It does actually open the question, what you were saying about if you did drop it and then you hoofed it before it hit the ground. Is that a knock on?
Although that seemed, what you read there seems to suggest that you can get away with it before the ground or another player touches the ball. So if you hoof it, then that's saying that you can get away with that. But my understanding was always that wasn't, you wouldn't get away with that. In the same reason,
that one doesn't.
You can't run up to the defensive line and throw the ball over them and then run around and collect it the other side. That's a forward pass.
So maybe I don't think that says that, but I think what I'm thinking is that he actually knocked it backwards. Is what Guazer was saying, that he didn't knock it forward. And if you look at it very closely,
that's okay. Then that's a different. It's like two different debates, isn't it? If he's saying that he knocked it back, then it's the momentum debate, and it's very difficult to get clarity around that. So that's just, at least we're identifying that that's what the debate is.
And I think it is.
I love the way we're actually talking about laws now. It's brilliant.
It was just so interesting. It was such a weird moment, because you'd think stuff like that would happen more often, but it doesn't. Maybe it does happen more often than we think, but it doesn't result in tries. I'm sure that if you looked at a lot of knock-ons, you'd probably see stuff like that all the time, but they don't result in big moments.
People don't. I don't think the players take advantage of little loopholes in the law. I don't think players take advantage of the opportunity that exists with the falcon. Like I always used it happened to me once, actually, playing for Ireland, I think it was, and I was like first receiver, and I had my hands up like a TV screens, like you learn in Leprechaun Rugby. That TV screens, the ball went straight through my TV, smashed my TV screen, and then hit me in the forehead. Right, I'm not covering myself in glory with this description, right? But hit me in the forehead, and then bounced through into their backfield effectively, and it was a knock on. Right, it's always going to be a knock on, but it shouldn't be, because that's a falcon, because it goes back off my hands onto my forehead, right?
It's called a falcon when you hit it with your.
It's a falcon. Yeah, apparently that's what they call it. So
I remember essentially header it over a defendant.
Yeah. And I remember saying to the ref, "No, come off my head, come off my head." And he's like, "Don't be a dick." He just looked at me. Shut up.
Yeah. remember Dricko did that weird pass thing against. Was it against Ulster or was it against?
It was against
Osprey?
Ulster. It was against Tommy, and Tommy hated it. He was raging.
That was so weird, but you never see stuff like that anymore.
Yeah, he threw it like kind of over Dennis Hickey's head.
Yeah.
That was at they called it that fixture, the last stand. That was the last game at the Lansdowne Road.
Okay.
At Lansdowne Road, sorry.
Yeah, it just made it such an interesting game, man. And then what happened afterwards? The Sonia McLaughlin's questions afterwards for the BBC, and she which I thought were brilliant. I thought, like, what else is she going to talk about? The two most outrageous moments in the Six Nations yet, and
but she did really go after him. She did ask the same question 3 times, and she was trying to goad Farrell into criticising the ref, which he'll get in bother for, so he can't answer it, and he didn't answer it 3 times.
It was about. She asked it. I thought if that's what she was doing, she did it a very normal way. It wasn't as dickish as you think it on paper.
She certainly shouldn't have been getting abused. Like, it sounds like she was getting.
I actually thought it was really good. I thought it was a really good, interesting.
I think she is. I think she creates a really entertaining interview.
Yeah.
But I'm just imagining if you're Farrell, you're going. You're kind of it's tough because he's obviously just had a hard time in the pitch, and then he's answered the question. He said, "Listen, it's not."
They did really well. I thought they both did. If that's what their prerogative is,
that
to not answer the question, then that's fine. And it's interesting to see that how they've maybe given themselves the players a heads up, and Eddie Jones that they're they giving a little pointer going into the interview, or is that actually just their mindset all the time is that control the controllables and anything's out of our control. Don't give out about the referee, because it's very impressive. If it is, because if both of them turned around and said, "Oh, I feel like we're really harshly done by," you'd completely understand if that was, and it'd be totally normal if they did say that as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I think people losing their mind over that. It's just a normal question. It's what everyone is talking about, and the exact same questions I'd have asked as well. Otherwise, you're just beating around the bush if you don't ask those questions. Just leaving out.
Did she suggest that Alan Wynne-Jones should have said to Gozer, we won't accept that try because that was unfair"?
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see your talk.
Apparently, again, I didn't see that one, so I hate saying this, but because I looked for it, couldn't find it. A few people were saying, like, mentioning it. So apparently that's what she suggested. So it's really unfair of me to say that because I haven't seen it firsthand. So, but yeah, that again, you're right. That was a talking point. But I did feel a wee bit sorry for Farrell because it's like he's hating this, and he dealt with it very well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
but he's right. She created a more interesting.
They're grown men. This is their job. They got to answer the questions. He's the captain. He's the coach. And they both didn't look like they were under too much pressure.
That's Craig Casey someday.
Nah,
I'm telling you.
He'd be
look forward to
fuck.
Look forward to reading reading his dad's tweets that
day. Other than that, I think it was just incredible, an incredible result. English discipline, mental. I suppose that's all you're going to hear all week. Mario Toje, I know he lives on the edge, but 5 penalties and 3 kickable penalties for the catfish.
Brando. Catfish Brando.
It was crazy when they got it back to 24 all. But
Catfish Brando was really good when he came on, wasn't he? There's been a lot of talk about him, and there's been a lot of talk that he's a bolter for the Lions, and that's it's going according to script, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see. Top of the table.
Please,
who would have expected
let Catfish Brando. Please let Catfish Brando stick.
Make a face of that on a t-shirt. Who would have thought Wales would be top of the table? Isn't it mad? We said this from the start. We were right. The Six Nations always throws up some crazy results, and here's
Wales.
But they're playing. But the way people are talking about them. Go on, sorry.
It's just Wales they should never have won as many Grand Slams as they've won, and.
Why are they there? What's the
I
trick?
don't know. I know it. There's only so long you can get lucky or be overachieving, and it's just so funny.
But they've got unbelievable players. Like, okay, they're they hadn't played well up until this point, but we said this before the first game. It's like you look at Wales on paper, and they've got a savage team. They all they need is a bit of confidence and belief, and it's amazing how far that will go in rugby. And they didn't have it for the Ireland match. They just defended with their lives, and they kept in there. Got lucky. They got lucky against Scotland, but also created some brilliant tries, and they had a bit of magic. And now they've got the confidence, and they were tuned in and focused. It's amazing how quickly it goes.
Anybody out of Ireland, France, England, and Scotland, if anybody out of Ireland, France, England, Scotland had, not Italy, if any of those other sides had have played against 14 men for the first two fixtures and then got two incredible referee decisions going their way in the third fixture, they would have won 3 from 3. And Wales are just... And you're right, I think they might get... Actually, we talked about this in Second Captains, and we talked about how we were sort of weighing it up, whether England are too strong for them. England played some incredible rugby, by the way. When they're chasing the game, they are class to watch. But anyway, but Wales, there was every chance that they were going to turn that artificial confidence into real confidence, and it's just become real confidence. But you know what I mean? That's just the way it is. That's exactly the way the Six Nations always goes. It goes one way or another really quickly. If you get a couple of bits of luck, and Wales have got that, then all of a sudden they can go on. They could win a Grand Slam this year. It's incredible.
So Ireland, on the flip side, everyone is complaining about how we haven't been playing well. We're not at the races. Questions over the coaches. Questions over the have we got standard across our 15? And you're going, what are we like? What kind of rugby are we playing? What the offloads? Where's the offloads? Okay, we're not throwing offloads, and I know I've been guilty of this in the past, but we're not throwing offloads. That means we're never going to win a game. We can't win rugby. Guess how many offloads Wales threw on Saturday?
Oh, this is good prep. 4.
0.
Ah, no, I'm such an idiot. I fell for it.
It was never going to be middle of the road. Like, it was always
either going to be 20
or 0. 0 offloads, not one offload, and they put 40 points on England. And did anyone look at that game for a second and think that Wales didn't play expansive rugby or weren't creative? There's many ways to skin a cat. They were very creative with those.
There's many ways to skin a catfish.
They were very creative with the quick tap. They got the try. They got the couple of breakaway intercepts and stuff. And it's amazing when you look at that. The Six Nations have been judged on offloads as a table last week. It was barely like who was top. It's got nothing to do with that. It was France had 21 offloads.
Yeah.
Italy had 14. Ireland had the least with 5 or 6 or something. Now Ireland have I think they threw 6 at the weekend, so they're up to 11. Italy had 12, I think, at the weekend. So it's,
Italy are going to win an offload Grand Slam.
Yeah. Wales are now bottom of the offload charts, but they're top of the table, and I'd say that was the exact same for last year when they or not last year, but the year before when they won the Grand Slam. So Matt Williams harping on about that at the moment to drive me bananas. Mate, you cannot win a game. You cannot break down a modern defence unless you offload. You cannot do it. You cannot win a game, mate. You cannot. First of all, Wales are top of the table. And they've beaten all 3 teams and won the Triple Crown with 6 offloads in 3 games, I think. I think that's actually how many they've had. 6 in 3 games. So, shuple.
Great stats, Barry. Great stats.
Thank you. So, Ireland, what did they do on the flip side then? They offloaded a little bit more, but okay, we know Italy were shit, but we won't focus too much on that. Quickly, actually, before I finish that, when you were saying about the hacks, I thought it was interesting. Johnny Lacey was on to me the other day, our referee extraordinaire, and he was ringing me to laugh at us like Quinny, and he said, I was like, have you any nuggets for me for the weekend? And he's like, kid, wait, no. Do you know the way
Yeah, I thought you were about to go into Matty Williams there for a second.
good Johnny Lacey Tipperary accent. Good. He's like, the kick chase from rucks, especially if you're in a ruck, and Italy are so guilty of this. The out half kicks and no one retreats and brings the offside players onside. The refs are going to crack down on it this weekend. You'll see loads of penalties for it. And sure enough, was there at least 2, if not 3?
Yeah, their hooker gave away more penalties than Mario. I told you.
And that was from that exact thing. They've been trying to hack the system with that. Do you know the way the Italy, if you keep kicking long and aimless, it's because your man is standing 20 yards behind the ruck, but no one's bringing them on. They're just all flaking up at the same time. So it's good to see the refs. The refs have so much to watch, don't they? But I just thought that was really interesting.
We've changed our tune, haven't we? Against France, we're like, one job.
Yeah, we're inconsistent.
Jeez, the refs have got a lot to watch, haven't they?
For fuck's sake. Damn it. So go on, give me your lowdown.
Okay, right. Very little prepped here. I thought Jameson Gibson Park played very well. I think, first of all, by the way, a lot of lads played really well. Will Connors played really well. Hugo played very well. I think you need to take all of those really, really impressive performances with a pinch of salt, because it's Italy, and Italy are not at the races at the minute. So I don't think you can tell that much from playing well against Italy. Is that fair enough? Yep. Or is that a bit much?
I think individually you kind of can. I'm trying to judge them all as defensively as a performance. I thought it was exceptional. I thought they Italy missing Fardy's at the scrum half was huge. That was game over, and not even game over, but it was Italy obviously have been beaten by everyone, but they've been impressive at moments during the last couple of weeks. But with him, he was the best player. With him missing, they had nothing to offer. So they were easy enough to defend against, but I still think the aggression off the line and everything was brilliant collectively. And then individually, I just thought some brilliant performances, and I think that's maybe a way we have to start looking at this individually and see, what players are playing very well and what players aren't playing well, and make it harder for those guys that aren't really bringing their A game to get into the team. And
so Tyke Byrne, that is incredible to play as well as he's been playing in the row, and then move to 6 and then produce another incredible performance. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I bet you he's done himself a disservice doing that, because straight away you change how you're perceived, and people are straight away talking about Lions and his versatility being so useful on the Lions. But where versatile players play? On the bench or in the midweek. And it's such, he is so good. That's so incredible that he was able to do that, change position and then be man of the match. Granted, Italy. But we should Dermy, can you stitch "granted Italy" in after all of our sentences?
Yeah.
Okay.
Granted Italy, 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 granted Italy.
Yeah, it is hard, but but at the same time, I do feel
he's class.
He is brilliant, and he was unbelievable. And I wouldn't change that too much of that team. I think when you're looking at the front row, Tyke Furlong was unbelievable. Thought he's just been different class since he came back.
But Porter has been incredible.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from Porter, but Tyke Furlong is next level. And when you think about, I heard someone talk about this recently, where what kind of world class players have we in that side? I mean, looking back in 2018 when we were beating the All Blacks and winning the Grand Slam, you're thinking, God, half our team is world class, and the rest are high level international players. At this stage, it's kind of, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe looking at them individually and how they're performing at the moment. And Tyke Furlong is absolute world class.
He is. But so Kelleher, Killer, they were both brilliant.
Yeah.
For Tyke Furlong was brilliant, and it's it's a big accomplishment to come straight back from injury and produce that level of output. But I think Porter has been doing something similar. I think the two of them are neck and neck.
Do you? Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. That's great. That's brilliant.
Who am I to who are either of us to talk about scrum? To be fair, but
Yeah. No.
in terms
It's,
of what
you're
they
right.
contribute.
I think Porter's brilliant. I think just Furlong is such a ball player. Adds that little bit extra. Kelleher, despite one maybe line out going a bit spare, I think, which may not have been his fault, and it was crooked, but it seemed like a little bit of a jumpy line out. Oh, jumpy line out. But I thought he was exceptional. I think I would love to see him start against, is it Scotland next? Yes. And then Kilcoyne, hopefully his head is okay. I think he deserves a shot. I think he needs a start. He's very explosive scrum. I know it was Italy, but I know he was he held it up quite well, and just his general carry-on aggression around the park. He's to go. James Ryan, good to see him back. Got through a lot of work, 19 tackles. Was a little bit like, I don't think he's been the same James Ryan for the last while. He just maybe needs to, I don't know if he's carrying himself a little bit. Doesn't look as comfortable on the pitch and as dynamic as he has in the past.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't
he's
think.
carrying his hip at times, or
I don't know. He just burst onto the scene, and he was so impressive earlier on. He's still so impressive, but it's almost like he's a victim of his own success. And people compare, like he's still not a million miles away from what he was, but what he was so incredible. Sexton,
but I think you keep the two of them in there. You keep that those second rows, and you
it's a
keep
great combo.
as much of that back row as you can as well. I thought Connors was excellent.
Yeah,
And then, I thought Gibson Park was decent.
yeah. I
Still,
thought he was
like-
better. I thought he was better than decent. Actually, I thought he was very good.
Yeah, I just want to see Craig start.
Yeah, because you know his dad.
And his
Are we at
uncle.
that stage in life
And his uncle.
where we want our friends' sons to play or daughters?
Yeah. Sexton was brilliant. Absolutely.
You know what
brilliant.
Sexton's done by being that good? He's given himself 3 days reprieve before he's in the headlines getting criticism again. He is
annoying,
just
isn't it?
it's
Jeez,
so
must be
annoying
so
for him.
annoying.
It's
Yeah.
so annoying. He was like,
What did he say
one
last
day-
week? I can't. I might make the World Cups, and headlines all over the Sexton doesn't think he'll make the World Cup. Then he had to go out and retract that statement. Like, all right,
What's
I said
the
I'm-
headline the following day? Sexton thinks he may make the World Cup. It's so annoying
he
for him.
can't win. He's just trying to
Yeah.
get on with it. Will he just get on with it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's desperation stuff to write.
Henshaw,
See, we-
Ringo's.
See, we got
shoot.
mentioned in the Irish Independent this week.
Yeah,
well-
by Rory O'Connor.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
See, yeah,
I did a
someone's taking it
very,
seriously.
very nerdy, long conversation with him about James Lowe.
Oh, did you? He rang you about it. I thought it was on the
Uh-huh.
show. I was there. When did we talk about this? Oh, it was on the. It wasn't on the show. Okay, yeah. It was good. It's a good article. Interesting. How do
Yeah.
you think he went,
I'm actually struggling to remember much.
James Lowe?
Oh, he
Couple-
went well. He went very well. Sorry, yeah, yeah. He is very good at hugging that touchline and backing himself not to get put into touch. Jordy Murphy actually made this point. And at one stage he kind of cocked up the offload. He tried to change hands, but I think we saw a little bit more of the X factor that we've been used to for Leinster. But you're again, Italy. You won't get that against Scotland.
Yeah, it's he had a couple of kicks again that I don't know if he's kicking now because I think he mentioned that during the week where he's been told to kick and he's been told that his left foot is a weapon. But as a winger, I'd especially on turnover. Like, remember the turnover rule? You turn over 2 passes, you go. Has that rule disappeared from rugby now? Because we saw it last week against England or against France, where we got turnovers on the line out, and Billy Byrne just kicked it up in the air, and the second is a turnover, 2 passes, get it wide and go.
Yeah, although it became so typical every time you make a turnover, 2 passes, everybody then shouts 2 passes, 2 passes. I remember in school, we had that. We made a turnover and someone shouted 2 passes. And then everybody just goes 2 passes, 2 passes. And then whoever it was received that second pass. Whoever it was we were playing against knew very obviously who's getting the ball. And they got smashed 2 passes later. Yeah, I think, yeah. Although, well, whatever about the 2 passes, but I think, again, I don't think you can tell that much. How do you think Larmer went?
I thought he did okay. Same as Earls, he didn't get a huge amount of ball and a lot of space. This is kind of one of my the things that I'm watching the most is how much space we're creating. When you see how much space Wales create for Zemet, and how he's running in tries, we don't seem to be doing that. Our tries are, our wingers aren't running in with loads of space. Why is that?
It's, I don't know, it's multifaceted, I would say. I don't think I think it's a shame that Ozzy's dropped. I wonder if he's dropped down the pecking order there. I don't know if you can read too much into it because it's Italy. I was disappointed to see him go off against France because I thought he had a lot more. He would have given a lot more in the last 15 minutes. I thought James Lowe had got through a heavy workload, and I thought we're not going to get as much out of him just because he's been so busy. I thought Earlsey looked fresher.
I didn't realize Jacob was back playing.
Well as well.
How did he do the other night?
He did really well.
He's got to be right in contention then for next week, or for 2 weeks' time.
I don't know what way the bubbles are working. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, is that to do with the bubble? Okay.
No. I'd probably not because there's a week's break. Probably not. Hopefully, I think Jacob looked sharp straight away. I thought.
Absolutely, I think he should be back in the fray straight away. I thought he was out for the whole Six Nations, and that was why he wasn't there.
That's what I'd heard as well. And Balakoon's back as well. He's not going to be in the mix for Ireland, but he is definitely a massive potential for the future for Ireland.
Yeah, I think he's brilliant. That's great to see those guys getting back. Robbie Little was back as well.
Robbie Little's back scoring disallowed tries, boy. Let me tell you, that fella knows how to score a disallowed try.
Did he get 3 or something?
I think he's a disallowed try specialist. I think if it was top trumps, he'd say disallowed tries 10 out of 10.
Any sign of Will Addison coming back?
Don't. Let's not put ourselves through this.
Okay. One man who is back is Joey Carberry. What about that slotted kick at the end? It was gorgeous.
How long did he
Absolutely
get, and how did he play?
He got 20 minutes. He did very well. He had one pass where he got smashed, but he looked very sharp, which is great. It was like straight on the field, got absolutely buckled back up.
And did everybody panic, thinking this is the end of Joey for another 18 months?
Like just looking to see where he got up. Then he had a touchline kick where he went for it, drilled it down into the corner, got every yard out of it. And then he had that kick at goal from the touchline, which was beauty. So, looking sharp. I don't think, it's no chance he'd be calling it the Irish team, I don't think, in the next few weeks. But, we were saying in the show last week that he might be back in April, and he's back already. So, everything is looking up Millhouse. And that was it, really. So, I think Glasgow and Leinster are playing right now. And Glasgow
Leinster's spanking them.
Are they? Jeez,
they were.
Glasgow had a decent team as well. Interesting. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back with Davy Quinlan to talk about Shannon RFC and Craig Casey and his dad and his uncle and his granny and his cousins and his grandfather and his dog. Bottles and Penguins is an independent production, and what I mean by that is,
it may sound like we don't know what we're talking about. You might even think Barry's hardly even played professional rugby and Dermy likes hurling. We want you to think that. It takes a lot of preparation to sound this unprepared.
We work very, very hard at what we do, and we want to make this show the best podcast in the world. For just $5 a month, you can help us do that.
Go to patreon.com/potholes and penguins and you can help me make these two fools look and sound even better than I already am making them look.
Okay, welcome back to part 3, the 4 power provinces of Ireland, brought to you by Energia, Ireland's greenest energy supplier and also sponsors of the All-Ireland League, which, as we all know, is the heart and soul of Irish rugby, but unfortunately had to be cancelled due to COVID. But Energia, in connection with the IRFU, are bringing out an unbelievable documentary looking back over the 30 years of the AIL and on some of their finest moments. And there isn't a team out there more decorated than Shannon RFC in terms of the All-Ireland League, with 9 titles. And what better man to talk to us today about the crack with Shannon than former captain, cousin of Alan, what else you, teacher in St. Munchin's, gardener extraordinaire, fan of the show, source of the word pothole.
Whoa.
I'm not the source. I just told you a story and you ran with it.
Source for this show, Mr. Davy Quinlan. I looked up the Wikipedia today of Shannon RFC, and it says like honours and past players and teams and coaches, and at the end it just says potholes and penguins. And I clicked into it and it was like referenced on show Potholes and Penguins was a former Shannon player who was called for the first time a pothole by John Langford, and the story was told by Davy Quinlan. And here you are.
Could we get on the honours board at on the clubhouse? Barry and Trimby.
There's 2 words there. Just to, and just to say, the only way I agreed to come on was because of COVID. There's no family get-togethers or reunion this year, so things would be awkward otherwise as to what camp I'm in talking to you after recent goings on.
Come on, tell
upset?
us. Is he upset? Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't talking, but I would presume he was. I saw some of the stuff that's gone down for me, lads. The Quinlans are not happy.
What about us? What about us? What he said about us?
I don't know. I'm
dragging
sure he's
our
grand.
name through the dirt.
Our good name.
Yeah. I can imagine you all out there with your big pitchforks in Tipperary just like coming after us.
Yeah, because that's what we do, yeah.
What a weekend for Shannon, huh? We've been Trimby's been slagging Ger Casey for the last hour, which I'm sure he'd be delighted with.
That's my whole interview gone. So. You call him Frank Skinner, no?
He's the head of Frank Skinner. Holy
John
shit.
Paul Tucker, a man once said, a guy from Shannon once said to me once, he's like, he called him Frank Skinner, Ger Casey, and I can't unsee it. When you see it, you can't unsee it. And so every time I see him, I tag him up in Frank Skinner or pictures on the internet. I'm like, oh, there's Craig Casey with Frank Skinner, any sign of Badil and all this crap. Anyway.
He even talks like him a little bit, to be fair.
Not as funny, though.
What are your earliest memories of Craig Casey? Was he hanging around the dressing room back in the day? Can you remember?
Oh, yeah. He was knocking around. There was always a couple of Evan Sargent and Ty Bennett's younger brother, Breen. But Craig was always knocking around from a really small age because Mossy, his uncle, was there, and he was always knocking around and just seeing what was going on. And big Shannon fan, like he was a proper Shannon fan. So just to see him now, not only it's brilliant, makes you feel really old, but geez, it's brilliant to see him get out there and get his cap yesterday.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And a lot of people talking about that, about the history in the family and stuff. And Johnny Sexton, I was saying earlier on, compared him to Johnny Wilkinson in terms of his prep and his attitude and stuff. And Mossy jumped straight to my mind then because he's so obsessed with rugby, but also completely OCD and a lunatic. So I'm sure that rubbed off with Craig as well.
When you said that to me earlier on, I was like, oh, what Sexton said, all I could think of was Mossy. And like you said, Mossy was unbelievable for the extras and training. And, he'd have a great game, but the thing that would be annoying him might be the one mistake that he made. And, real perfectionist. And even down to, we used to tug off beside each other in the same spots in the Shannon dressing room. And I'd have the bag of gear, it'd be Tuesday night's gear, it'd be still in with Thursdays, just a mess. And then Mossy would open this pristine gear bag with everything folded, socks ironed, his little Louis Vuitton wash bag with all the hair gel and everything inside, and it just immaculate. But as you say, his attention to detail, and so I'm sure that had a massive impression on Craig as well. It's not by chance he's like that.
Yeah. Take me back to that dressing room back in the day then with the likes of Mossy and yourself, and that was probably what, 2002, 2003. Is that that was the one you won 4 yourself, did you?
Yeah, 4.
But that was your first one. That was your one as captain, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2098 I was kind of the squad, got a couple of games and was brought along to everything because I was only a young fella. And then 2002 was captain, and that was kind of all the younger guys come, including Mossy, and that was my favourite year. That was just the crack was we'd give it socks in training during the week, and then after the game Saturday night we'd give it socks as well. But like it was just a brilliant season and great crack,
Yeah, that was your era. So it was kind of they're all your mates and stuff like that playing at that point.
Yeah, and it was kind of the start. It was getting into that zone now where suddenly the Munster players weren't available all the time, and like about 2000, you'd get a few games out of them. The club still had a bit of power and pull. By 2002, there was no one coming back regularly. Now, by the time of the final, I think we had 4 or 5 guys back. We'd John Hayes, we'd Marcus Horn, with guys like that. I think Golliv was on the bench in the final. But you didn't have them every week. Like we would have played the semi-final with 3 or 4 guys. So there was a lot of young guys involved in that, and that just led itself to, like, as I said, brilliant crack off the pitch as well, because we were all the same go. Apart from Johnny Lacey, who was like 40 at that stage, but still the quickest fella on the team, Johnny got a ridiculous amount of tries that year.
Did he? Would you be texting him now, like me, 90 during matches, trying to work out what's... I'd say he loves it, just sitting there.
Yeah, no, I'm on a WhatsApp.
Centre of attention.
Really good mates with his brother Andy. Andy from Bose, and we'd be on the WhatsApp texting during the game, and he'd say, "I was just on to Johnny. Johnny said that wasn't a try, or it was a try." And like I said, Johnny's just loving that. He's loving when the ref makes a controversial decision because he knows he's got 8 missed calls and 15 WhatsApps to answer and give his expertise.
Oh, I love it. I love how it all. There's so many, especially from a small club like that. It just stems out so far from Shannon. Well, I suppose not a small club, but the history there is massive. When you go back to those years, you came in 98, that was the last win of the 4 in a row. But the aim of this part is to show what a club does for the community or does for the game. And when I think of Shannon back then, and when I talked to my dad about them, it was always that group of Shannon players and coaches and everyone involved. They revolutionised the game, the amateur game. Would that be kind of fair enough when you came in at that age? Is that what
I don't know, they revolutionised, but definitely, like, the guys that were involved, the players wise, you had Axel, you had Golliv, you had Alan was there. You had really good guys involved, and they were always trying to get better and better and better. And that happened in the club as well. You had Niall O'Donovan was the coach there in 98. I remember we Dave Mahidi doing Monday night sessions with us when no one was doing fitness sessions. Fitness was kind of laughed at. And Mahidi was doing that. And then the following year and the year after, not only was doing fitness session, but he was doing like sports psychology with us. You'd have to sit down and have a chat. We didn't know it was sports psychology at the time, but that's what he was doing, Yeah. So it was they were always ahead of the game that way. Upstairs in the club, they were really, really well organised. It was a really well-run club, that kind of way. And I think you only realise that when you look back at it, and when the wheels come off, then you're like, shit, Jesus, things were so well run back then,
Yeah.
But, and it was just like the players around the place were just phenomenal,
But I suppose that level of detail that you were putting, the work you were putting into it, kind of produces players like that. When everyone thinks back, it's like, wow, that they had obviously loads of Irish and loads of Munster players, but which comes first? Is it that the Shannon helped develop some of the best players that Munster had?
You'd often hear the lads talk about chips on their shoulder. Remember Munster guys would be saying, "Oh, we weren't being picked for Ireland," so that drove Munster on. Like in the Shannon dressing room, the kind of talk was, "Oh, some lads weren't being picked for Munster," that kind of way. There was always a grudge every week. Whoever you were playing, there was always a grudge of some kind to pull out of the bag, which kind of pull. But like I said, the guys involved, they were going off to Munster then. I presume they brought a lot of that to Munster. But it would have stayed with the younger guys in the club. And the club itself was like, you talk about community, it was a massive community, still is, you know, like most really good rugby clubs. Great supporters, great guys behind the scenes in the club, like just always just driving it on, making sure everything was done. And like I said, you don't realise what was happening until it wasn't happening kind of effort, you know?
Yeah. I know it's a big commitment for anyone to give back to a club. And I think a lot of clubs.
I heard you're giving back to Bohs yourself while we're talking about it.
That's it.
It's the self-christened cool coach of the under-18s, I believe. Apparently, one coach had to be cool, a cool coach to,
them at the end of training,
to talk to the lads, to relate to the lads.
Go down and do some breakdancing for them after training. It would be hard to be cool around the rest of the coaches down there. So what's your favourite memory? Give us what you think elevated that shed inside in terms of the crack.
My favourite memory was, and it's totally selfish, was 0-2 winning the league as captain. It was just, because I was young when I was kind of, every captain at that stage was a guy who was, you know, he'd been capped or he was a Munster guy or he'd been there for 10, 15 years. I was like, I think it was 23 when I started that season as captain and wasn't long really in the team. And then winning the league that year, beating Con in the final, it was just, it was mind blowing. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember waking up in, it was actually Johnny Lacey's house. I was renting a room off him. I woke up one morning with the Munster Senior Cup under one arm and the AIL under the other, and like still fucking in my blazer or whatever that stage, and just going, what the fuck's going on? But it was great crack. That was the best year for crack, and and literally milked the whole summer out of it then till pre-season. I was probably still wearing the blazer and tie coming back into Coon in fucking September or August, whatever. But yeah, that was the highlight for me, you know.
Oh, I love it. I miss those days. Talk to me about St. Munchin's College. What's going on at the moment? You obviously can't do any training or anything like that. Are you coaching the senior team?
I'm coaching the junior team. Did the senior team for 3 or 4 years there, and now coaching the juniors with a really, really great bunch of great team this year, a bunch of players. So we shared the cup last year. The year before they got to the final, the year before that they won it. So we've had a really good crop of players coming through the last 3-4 years. A lot of hard work gone in from a lot of teachers, from rugby guys in the school to non-rugby guys getting involved, you know. So we've made a real push in there. So it's going great. Like, biggest thing is keeping the numbers out, keeping the kids enjoying it, having fun, you know. And that's the biggest thing we're trying to do, is just keep lads playing. Because at the moment, I think the biggest problem in club schools everywhere is fellas dropping off and not playing anymore, you know.
I know. Would you have come up against Craig when he was playing? Sorry to jump back to him now, but would you have come up against Craig with Art Scullereesh coaching Munchins?
Yeah, well, I was out of school at that stage, but I was coaching. I didn't repeat my leave 15 times. But Craig, a couple of years. Like definitely 1 year outside in New Munster's ground. He definitely should have been sent off. Do you remember? It was about the time they started clamping down and tackling a guy in the air, and he absolutely opened our full back under a high ball. He went head over heels, and the ref didn't even give him a yellow or whatever. But he was brilliant that day. As you know, at schools you could see he had that level of class, and his passing was always just amazing, and he was just he was always small. Even at schools he was small, but like his passing, his speed, his just game knowledge was miles ahead of a lot of the guys we're dealing with, you know. Yeah.
Now Trimby, you could be right. Trimby was comparing him that potentially he could end up being like Andy Farrell, or what's his name? Owen Farrell, where he was the golden boy, but now everyone just abuses him.
When was Owen Farrell the golden boy?
It starts so everybody's just so fond, everybody's just so happy and enthusiastic about his future, and then fast forward I don't know how many years, and then Owen Farrell's he's just getting a hiding on TV. He's playing terribly. He's getting hounded by interviewers. He's getting abused by supporters on Twitter afterwards, and then you're kind of going, well, hopefully things stay on track for Craig.
I was just about to say, I can't wait for you to interview Craig and pass all this on to him. So there's so much to look forward to.
Be careful what you wish for, Craig.
Taking you down with
It's
us.
all doom and gloom from here on.
Well, you were the man who confirmed the source of Potholes and Penguins. So for that, we are eternally grateful. It's a great story. Actually, funnily enough, you got married in Vegas to avoid bumping into potholes, just to get away yourself and the missus, and you bumped into the biggest pothole of all time in Vegas, didn't you?
Yeah, Dowling was with you. Yeah. He was there. I got married in 2009, so he needed a holiday at the time. You can do the math yourself. But we got married in Vegas. There was all the family over there, and we ran into Baz. Were you between Ireland Day and Ireland or something, or tour?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was you, Dowling, your brother. Was it just the three? I just remember the first night you came down to meet us in our hotel, and I think you were a no-show because you couldn't talk and you couldn't walk and you couldn't do anything. They just left you behind it. And then
I was tired.
And the second night, which was the stag, you rocked on without Dowling, and you're like, he couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, he couldn't. So I never actually saw you in the same room together, but yeah. Baz gate crashed. You weren't invited, by the way, to the hotel, to the stag, to anything, but you were driving around in a limo around Vegas, out the sunroof with no pants on. So we were all just getting your arse all over the place in the fucking limo. But that was the low point of my week in Vegas, to be honest with you.
Get out of it. I made your wedding. I made your stag and your wedding. It would be nothing without me.
We also
you could be hired. I could be hired. I should hire myself out for stags.
Steve Keogh was another Shannon man, was with Leinster at the time. He arrived on with what's his name, Paul O'Donoghue, former Leinster, and
Owen
O'Malley. Yeah.
Yes.
So the fucking gate crashed is the word, I suppose. Yeah, but all good crack. Yeah,
swimming in the fountain that night, if I remember correctly.
I don't know what you were doing because I just left you go. I had a wedding to fucking afford. I wasn't
stroking through the back stroking through the fountain, spitting water in the air. Okay, well, look, you've represented Shannon brilliantly. You've represented Craig Casey brilliantly. You've even represented your cousin brilliantly. So fair play to you. He might write more positively about us next time.
Hardly.
Davey, if for your next stag or wedding, give me a shout. I'll be there.
No.
In the meantime, thanks a million.
Maybe Dermy, not you.
In the meantime, thanks a million, man. Have a great evening. I hope you get back to school soon. And
tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, you remember that feeling on a Sunday night when you hadn't used your homework done and you go back to school tomorrow?
And here
multiply
you are.
That. Here I am. Talking to EGOB shots.
Before you go, give us one quick look at your t-shirt.
No.
Come on.
Vintage IRFU. Irish under 18s still fits.
An Irish under 18s freebie t-shirt. The one bit of gear you got. What age you know? 40 odd.
Did you get your cousin to sign that? I think there's a signature there.
Oh, I love it. All right, Davey, you've gone frozen on us, so we're going to let you go.
he would have charged me for it if it did.
All right, take care, man.
Twinny.
Cheers, boys. Sound.
Okay. That's lovely. It's all wrapped up now in a nice little package. March is here now, lads. Enjoy the first day of spring tomorrow. Any plans for spring? I'm doing that fucking run next week.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to do it because it's first a good cause and it's going to be good for me. I'm going to challenge myself and actually the link for the GoFundMe page for Queen's University. So sad for Greg and all the players at Queen's. You can check out on my bio on my Instagram, but I'll also attach it into the Potholes and Penguins one. But it's going to be tough. I've gotten a few people that are going to do with me.
Who?
People online. On what line? On the internet.
I've got loads of friends on the internet, ma'am. What are you in? I'm inside my room talking to my friends. Go run out with my friends.
Yeah, well, you've bailed on me. Trimby's bailed. He's going cycling.
I haven't decided yet. I haven't ran for a year, and last week, just kind of putting the feelers out there, I ran twice, and my legs and back are banjaxed. I realised that's the reason why I haven't ran for a year. So
How long did you run?
4 miles both times.
At what kind of pace?
Slow.
Really, and your back and knees are sore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does take a while to get into it. I have been running loads, so I know.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
But someone sent me, there's a cycling challenge, and Bernard Jackman, Wally, is it? Or no, Paul Wallace, I think, is doing this cycling challenge.
Cycling, yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's a few Irish guys doing it, and yeah, there's and it's tough as well. It's 6 2-hour rides over the weekend, and it's competitive against Scotland, England, Wales, for who can get the most miles over like 6 2-hour rides. So it'll be tough as well. Now it's not like running at 2:00 in the morning, which is what you're doing, which is more exciting.
More dangerous. Yeah, no, I understand. I completely allow you to do that. Not that you need my permission, but I wasn't expecting you to be able to do that, because it does sound, I don't
I
think
do,
I'll
Barry.
be able.
I need your permission. I need your blessing.
You have my blessing.
Thanks.
As long as we're doing something. Dermot, what are you going to do?
What, this week?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bear this, bear that.
More sunbathing, I'd say, out the back.
Yeah. Bit of bacon.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, look, if anyone else wants to join us, give me a shout. Although you'll be just doing it on your own, but it's kind of, you'll know that I'll be in the world as well doing it. It's for a good cause. So tune in. And then we'll be back with our weekly pothole during the week. And hopefully loads more rugby to talk about. Rugby was back. Looking slick. Jeez, those boys know how to throw offloads, I'll tell you that.
Jack Regan from Donegal.
Awfully.
Oh, never mind then. Can we cut that out?
Same, but very different.
Some amount of passing in that one there now.
All right, have a great week. Happy spring. Party on.
Party on, boys.
Party on. Bye. Girls.